Hey everybody, welcome to another video. Sorry, sure as shit, as soon as I hit record, the construction workers right outside my window here fire up the cherry picker. So you'll probably hear that in the background, most likely. I gotta get this recorded now, I don't have time later, so I'm gonna go ahead and just muscle through it. This one's kind of an episode of just kind of 80s stuff. Remember, we're trying to stick with 1984, and here's the thing I gotta say. If anybody, and this is just a broad blank check to anybody who would know, which is probably not going to be many people. If you have any videos, well, videos would be great, but more so pictures. If you have pictures, good, they turned it up. If you have pictures of any mall, store, even like fashion, whatever, any pictures around like the Detroit area, specifically Rochester, but it doesn't have to be. Could be Troy, could be Sterling Heights, or Sterile Whites as we call it. Anyways, it could be any of that stuff. If you have pictures and stuff, send them my way, because here's the thing. I kind of did a video a little bit on this before about the malls in Rochester, like the Meadowbrook Mall, Winchester Mall. I'm going to cover the bigger malls, at least one of the bigger malls. And the reason why is because it's coming up very shortly, and I don't think it's started yet, but they're going to tear it down, which is extremely disheartening. I was there with my son 2 Christmases ago, and briefly, like literally, just like walked in. My sister dropped us off. It was like back in the day. Sister dropped us off, me and my son, or my son and I, and then we went in through Penny's, I think. We went through Penny's? Or maybe we didn't go through Sears section and it went on coming. I think we went through the Penny section, and then ran down to the first floor, and went to Hot Topic because he was looking for Metallica shirts. He just was getting into Metallica, and he went into shirts. We went there. He got his red Metallica shirt, and then we got out of there, literally. And there was nothing. There was nobody there. This was in the evening. We would run across to Costco or whatever, and I was like, "Hey, he wants to run in there." So we ran across. This is in Sterling Heights, or Sterile Whites, which is in Macomb County, which is just east of Oakland County, where Rochester was my hometown. It's pretty much the north end of, not the far north, but the north end of the Detroit area. Once you get past like Lake Orion, Oxford, you're kind of almost into Genesee County, Lapeer area. Go look at a map. Just go look at Google Maps and just hit Detroit, and then go north of Detroit, and you'll see like Rochester and stuff like that. You'll see Macomb County, and of course, if everybody knows anything about Detroit, there's 2 main roads that run out of Detroit. Famously Woodward, where the Woodward Dream Cruise is. Woodward Avenue, which runs downtown Detroit all the way up to Pontiac. Some people call it Little Detroit. And if you run the other way, you go on Gratiot, and then Gratiot goes all the way up to Mount Clemens. And that's pretty much that V in, it's kind of surrounding area without going downriver. That's the Detroit area, which is pretty much, where we got here? The hand, I gotta show the hand. It's pretty much this whole area. It's not the thumb. It's not me, right in the thumb pit where I'm at right now in Bay City, which is mid-Michigan, and then it's not up north. So, and it's not the, it goes to the, no, and then there's the west side of the state too. So, we're going to talk about the Lakeside Mall in Sterling Heights a little bit. We're going to talk about fashion of the 80s. Like I said, it's really hard to put together, like doing like a top 10 video, or top whatever, or just, music from 1984, movies from 1984, cartoons from 1984, toys from 1984. It's pretty easy because there's a pretty good record of that stuff. But really, there's not a lot of record of there is, like in California and New York, the hot spots. There's a lot of photographs and video and stuff of that time period in the 80s, but You get into like the rest of the world where normal people live, not, you know, the major cities in the country. Um, it's a wasteland for just photographs, and like things like one thing I kept looking for was things like something about it. You know, I know it's gone, but I was thinking like maybe Wikipedia would have like an entry on like who founded it, you know, when it went out of business, that type of thing. It is literally erased from existence. And like I said, things was huge, at least in our area. And like I said, I don't. That's the thing I want to know. Was it because I don't. It doesn't show like everything. You go to every other mall, like California malls and stuff. It's all Sam Goody, Spencer's, which they still have Spencer's today. You know, all those type of stores. But back in the day, it was there. I don't even think there was a Spencer's Gifts in any of the malls that I can remember. I don't remember Spencer's being a thing until like the late '90s. It might have been there in the mid '90s. I just didn't pay attention. But in the '80s, it was things. If you wanted rock band there's no Hot Topic either. So if you wanted, you know, band T-shirts, you wanted jackets, patches, fangled eyes jewelry, you wanted fundies, Two People underwear. That was the place you went. Was Things, and Things had a very distinct look to it. It was already red and chrome. It looked like the '80s. As in Spencer's, if you look at it, it looks more '90s. It looks more like late model Chuck E. Cheese, or like kind of like '90s design, where it's just like it was too Saved by the Bell looking. In the '80s, it was more streamlined and cooler and neon and very cyberpunky looking. Wasn't as goofy. Didn't look like, you know, the carpet at an AMC. You know, it looked streamlined. I guess streamlined. I guess it's streamlined in the '80s. I guess is the best way to put it. As a lot of stores did back then. I found some very limited photographs of a store that we'll talk about specifically with Merry-Go-Round. I know there was Chess King, but nobody was rich enough to go to Chess King. I never bought a thing from Chess King. I also never had bought. Sorry, just a second here. I'd never bought. Okay. I never bought, what was I going to say? I never bought a, what was it? DJ's was the other store, which didn't last very long. I think I bought like a pair of pants from DJ's once, or somebody bought me a pair of pants from DJ's. But Things was the way to go. If you wanted a Michael Jackson Beat It jacket, you wanted a Thriller jacket, as people know, I told the story, you want a Prince Purple Rain jacket, you would go to Merry-Go-Round. Or Merry-Go-Rounds, as I always call it. It's like Kmart's and Ford's. It's always put an S on the end of everything. J.C. Penney's, it's Penny. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to there. I'm also going to show, I was looking through my photographs. I found 3 that are the closest. Well, 2 of them are from 1984. One's from literally the spring, summer of 1985. These are the 3 photographs I can find of myself at that time. One's my 6th grade picture, which is funny because my son right now is in 6th grade. There's his 6th grade picture. I found my 6th grade picture. I found a picture of me from early 1985 summer standing outside of the Winchester Mall. Speaking of Winchester Mall Cinema, right out the back. It was 85 summer. I don't know what I would have been seeing at that time. We haven't done our 85. We've been trying to think of 85 movies. So it wasn't, it wasn't Ghostbusters, which I saw at Hampton. So it wasn't anything from 84. I'm just curious to think. I got to really think about what movie I was seeing, because it wasn't Transformers movie. That was 86. This was definitely 85. I found that picture. So I'm going to show these 3 pictures in just a second. Sorry, my phone is going off the hook. My son actually did win a contest at school, like a show that an art show that he did. He played like a 5-minute long guitar solo thing, or that he created, and won the whole thing. Won a free iPad, the whole 9 works. So people are kind of, I sent out a message and people are kind of texting me back their responses to it. Pretty proud of him on that one. I said he is a beast on the guitar. He's been playing for just over a year. He's in 6th grade, and he is a beast. I mean, shreds like you wouldn't believe. Loves all the 80s stuff too, for the most part. I mean, he's into some of their newer stuff. Newer as in not now. He's really getting into Primus. We actually might go see Primus with a couple other bands at Pine Canab here coming up in May. My friend's trying to get tickets for it. So we might go see Primus for that. He also loves the Buckethead. I didn't know much about the Buckethead, so now I'm listening to him, and he's a pretty good guitar player. My son loves him. Like I said, Pancake Heads. My son loves anybody weird. Primus, King of Weird. Buckethead, weird. Anything that's a pancake head or a bucket head, my son likes. So anyway, enough about him. We're talking about me. So let's go back to 1984 again. So it's funny. I just wanted to make note of the fashions, because in these 3 photographs that I found, I'm pretty much wearing quintessential 1984 fashion, and I thought it was pretty cool too. The other shirt, the one I'll show you too, is hilarious, because I remember this picture was taken, and I remember having all that stuff, and I remember it was like summer, fall. It was more fall, I think. It was still like warm enough not to wear a jacket, but it was not warm enough to wear shorts, I remember, and it was becoming fall. So let's skip over and let's show you those pictures just to get that started. Pretty funny here. Let me pull them up. Alright, there we go. So, that is me. Circa 1984. It was 6th grade pictures at North Hill Elementary School, fall of 1984. This is, right there is a kid who had just seen the Transformers start. I was, at the time, I was 11 years old. I turned 11 in July in 84. Going into, sorry, what was I going to say? Yeah, these stupid photographs they took. It was like one of the first years they did this, where they put like the backdrops and like the props, like the little stupid wooden fence that you could tell is all nicked up. But they put that in there. That's how they took our pictures for 6th grade. So I thought it was stupid then, because it's like, I don't look cool. I'm like, this is like, it very reminds me of Footloose. It's like, take Footloose Kevin Bacon, not the same as good looking as Kevin Bacon, but anyway, take Footloose Kevin Bacon with his leather skinny tie and his 80s shirt, and you know, transport him, and now he's got to go see his Aunt Edna out in the farm. You know what I mean? So it totally doesn't work. But this, I mean, this is, to me, it's an iconic photograph. I've seen this photograph for years, obviously, notably for the last 40 years. Yeah, it's funny. This is before I started growing my hair out, which actually I didn't start growing. I mean, I grew my hair out a little longer. I think my mom just had my hair cut for this photograph because she wanted me to look nice. Gotta look nice. Anyways, I ended up in the one photograph you see when at the end of 6th grade, so going into 85, I shaved my head for a buzz cut. I wanted a buzz cut, and I got kind of self-conscious about it at first. I was like, oh my god, my hair's gone. And then that's when I started growing my hair out longer. You know, as a lot of people did. But anyways, that was me in 6th grade with my, like I said, I remember I bought that shirt right there that you see, was purchased exclusively from Merry-Go-Rounds in Lakeside Mall. I remember getting it that day. I got a pair of shorts with it, which I wouldn't have been wearing at this time. I got a pair of shorts with it. So we got that, I think we got that like in the summer of 84, because I had these shorts, and they had like, it was really weird. It was strange for a kid to wear. They were gray shorts, they matched the gray on that shirt, and then they had zips, because everybody loved zippers back then, parachute pants. The zippers that would zip up the sides, like all the way to the top. And I was just like, what? And they were kids' shorts. What? I mean, were they supposed to be like worn over or something? It's just like, that's kind of odd to... I remember my friend would unzip them all and say, cut it out! And it's like, you know, your whitey-tighty whiteys are hanging out there. So obviously I'm not wearing the shorts here. I think I had jeans on in this photograph. But yeah, so I love that shirt too. I remember getting that shirt. I remember going. I wore the shirt and the shorts over to. My mom was dating another guy, and we went over to his apartment complex. And I remember running around in the courtyard with all these other kids my age, and all these young girls are there. And this was about the time when I was starting to get interested in girls. Well, before that, but I mean, this time is when you're like, you know, you're sixth grade. You're going through that awkward stage. You're just about to hit puberty. And I remember it was like I wanted to flex, as my son would say. I was trying to be cool with my cool new merry-go-rounds clothes. Look at that, I got merry-go-round clothes. I was trying to be. This is a little dick, is what I was. I was trying to be cool in front of the young girls. Anyways, but the funny thing is, it's like I've got the leather. So that leather tie there, you see, leather skinny tie was purchased exclusively for the Things. I believe it was Things of Winchester Mall. There's one in Winchester, one in Lakeside. Winchester was the mall in Rochester. Lakeside was the big mall in Sterling Heights, a city over, a couple of cities over. Yeah, I remember wearing that tie, and I was thought that tie was super cool. I wanted the piano key tie, and I never got a piano key tie. I just had the black leather tie there, which is like wasn't even leather, it was like pleather or something. But I wore. My mom's like, you got to wear a tie with your new shirt. I'm like, a tie? The shirt doesn't made for a tie. Although it did have a collar. It had the little snap-down collar, as you can see. I ended up. What do you call it? I ended up going. Oh, before I left, I grabbed the leather tie, tied the tie up, put that on. My mom's like, I meant a real tie, not a leather tie. Mom, it is a real tie. It matches the shirt. They're both hip and trendy. You wouldn't know what hip and trendy is. So, on to school I went, took the photographs. It's funny, though. I found some pictures. I'm not going to show my parents, but I found a picture of my mom and her friend. Right after this, they took these pictures. It was a half day. Remember this? It was a half day of school when they took this picture. Like I said, fall-ish of 1984. It was cold, but it wasn't like what you barely needed a jacket, because they took them like pretty much right as soon as the school started. There was a half a day, and my mom ended up picking me up from school because I normally rode the bus. Right after this picture was, I think my mom was in when she was standing there when this picture was taken. She came in there because this was taken in the media center, and like the lunchroom was next door, and you kind of went to go catch your bus there. But my mom had come in. And she picked me up, and I don't think I knew what we were doing. She goes, "Oh, we're going up north, straight from here. I packed all your clothes." I'm like, "But Mom, I got stuff I want to bring." She got No, I didn't have Transformers at the time. I had T-Man guys I wanted to bring. I had a bunch of stuff I had to bring, but all I had was a knife, and I'll show you the knife. There's a picture of me with. I had a knife that was in the car because I think my mom. I can't remember the situation, but I remember being in the car with that knife, and I either left it in there or my mom made me leave the knife in the car. She didn't know I had it, and she got mad. So the knife was still in the car, and that's the only thing I got to take up to Traverse City. Went to Traverse City. She met some other dude up there, and she didn't like to drive, right? She hated driving, but her friend was going to drive, so her friend drove me and my mom up there in my mom's Dodge Dart. She had an old Dodge Dart, no air conditioning. Well, it technically had an air conditioning, but it was a aftermarket unit put in. No, that's weird. And she took us up there to go visit. We stayed the whole weekend, so this was on a Friday, with this dude and his son. And his son was like 13 or 14, a little bit older than I was. They were out every Friday night, Saturday night. My mom, her friend, and this dude, they were out like at these, doing what 40-year-olds do. Like, again, I'm still not old enough to do this stuff at 50 years old. But he's doing what 40-year-olds do back in the 80s, in 1984. And they were going all frickin' night. So, yeah, I had this shirt with me, and then I had... I can't remember what else. I had a jean jacket. I had an Iron Maiden t-shirt. I believe I had my Peace of Mind t-shirt. I had a couple other things. I can't remember what else we brought with you. But I had no toys, except for, if you want to call it a toy, I had my knife. And I'll show you the knife in a second. So anyway, that's me, 1984. So when we're talking about all these 1984 things, all these videos you've seen, and I keep talking about myself at the time, that's me right there. So, oops. Let's go to... Put myself on the other side, because when we get to the other thing, it'll be easier to see. Darn it. Okay, so I'm not going to go to the knife picture. I'll go to that one last. So that right there is the following summer. So technically this is 85. That's the back of the Winchester Mall. And I can definitely tell what time of day it was by looking at those shadows that were cast from... There was these like spire things at the end of... with like these lights coming out. It was kind of like the lighting system. This is like the very back of... There's a glass door. Movie theaters here in the mall. Things was right up here, by the way. But anyways, you'd come out there, and this is where like people would meet up. Like when movies were gonna show, this is where everybody would hang, right? And there was like this flower bed right there. Is I got my arm on it. It kind of came into the corner. So the door is literally right near my left elbow. Is the door to get in? That's this little corner here, and this kind of goes all the way along, and that whole side is one of the theaters. Oh no, it's not, because the theaters are on the other side. It's the hallway, and then you wrap around, and then the theaters are back here. And then there was also the walkway here. It went around the mall, and this is where like people would get dropped off, picked up. Obviously, right here, I'm being picked up. I was dropped off to see a movie. Not my dad this time. I'm pretty sure. I believe it was the friend, because my mom's friend, the one who we went up north with, she was also into photography. And she had her camera with her all the time. She was always taking pictures of stuff. She got a bunch of pictures of my son when he was a baby. But anyways, she was standing, she came to pick me up with my mom after I was seeing a movie. Like I said, I cannot remember what movie I've seen. I have to look at the 85 movies, and I'll tell you which one I think it is. But I just got through seeing a movie, came out of the theater. I loved the sleeveless shirts at the time, as you can tell. Sleeveless shirts were my thing. Not that I had guns, at 11 years old, but I just liked them because they were comfortable. The only problem is, I had, not a gut, but I had like a little bit of like sides. I wasn't a little... I looked just like my son's body formation. He's not rail thin, but he's not fat either. He's just kind of got sides. And I got this... I don't have a picture of this, but I got the sweatshirt. It was a sleeveless sweatshirt, but it was like sleeveless all the way down the side, slit to like where the seam was. It was all open. You're supposed to wear a t-shirt underneath it. It was actually like a workout, like 80s, aerobic, crazy thing. Had a had kanji on it, with something else Japanese on it. And anyways, on the side, but I would wear it out in the summer with no shirt underneath it, and I had these little love handles hanging out here. I've got plenty of them right now. And people would be like going like, "Oh, you sure you want to wear that shirt? It's not very flattering. It doesn't look nice." But I loved that sweatshirt, but I was self-conscious wearing it until I realized, oh, I just wear a t-shirt underneath it. The problem solved. Cover up the cabaza, the old spare tire. Anyways, so as you can kind of see my body here. Is like I said, it wasn't super fat, although, Kim Zinser called me a fat pig in 5th grade, so... There you go. Anyways, there's the hair. I shaved the hair off, and that was probably more grown in. Like, I literally shaved it down. Not bicked it, because I didn't know what that was back then, but we shaved it down with, like, maybe I think he said it was a 2 or a 3. Went to the barber shop, and so that's me sitting out there. I kind of look like a dick. I look like a little punk. Anyways, that was me. And then here's the picture. I love this picture. So, there's a lot going on in this picture. There's literally a lot going on in this picture. So, the first thing is, I had just gotten back from Tecumseh Woods summer camp. And this is the summer, fallish, more fallish. This is school started in 6th grade, Mr. Camley's class, 1984 fall. Literally, Transformers is starting as I'm standing here with my knife, canteen, camouflage headband, and kamikaze or rising sun shirt. Yet I'm wearing purple corduroys, like purplish, like navy blue, cobalt. Some would call it. I don't know if it's cobalt, but these I remember those corduroys. They're really comfortable, but I had to stop wearing them. Your thighs would shake together. Anyways, so it's so funny. I look just like if you cut my head off and you and darkened my skin tone, gave myself more olive drab. My body looks just like my son's. That's really creepy. Like literally, same stance. He stands like that. He's built just like I was. So, anyways, I came back from Tecumseh Woods, and there's a few things about Tecumseh Woods where I got in trouble. Like I said, it's all paramilitary crap, right? This is when my dad kept taking me over to Joe's Army Navy Surplus in Pontiac, or Little Detroit as they call it. Anyways, going over to Pontiac to Joe's Army Navy Surplus store, my dad was buying me all this like Army stuff, right? That and ninja weapons and Army and paramilitary stuff. So, but the shirt was purchased where? Merry-go-round. Anyways, it's such a weird cacophony of like everything wrong in this picture. It's just like, but anyways, that bandana, that camouflage bandana. I remember they had a stack of them at the counter. They weren't like they're obviously not real issue, but they figured, hey, it's a nice add-on item at an Army Navy surplus store. Let's sell a bunch of these camouflage bandanas. So anyways, Dad, can I get a bandana? Sure, I guess. Just put it in the thing. Anyways, so I had just gotten back, I remember. Literally, I think no, because it was school started, so it wasn't. I'm trying to think of when exactly I went to camp. Camp was late summer, too. Like, there wasn't a big, like, literally, it's like you got shuffled off to camp in August. You come back, you got like a week, and then school starts. So I didn't like that. But anyways, I did go to Tecumseh Woods to camp, and I brought that knife with me. So that knife, my dad got there was a place downtown, actually it was right around the block. Remember I talked about the place on the corner by my grandma's house? You can barely see it, but that white, I believe, is the corner of my grandma's house. I know that garage right there, here's something really weird. Right behind me is an old garage, right? In the back of the Teachworths. Sorry, I don't keep saying their name. But anyways, in the back of their duplex, they own the whole duplex. They lived in one, actually by this time they moved down to a house, so they're renting this out. But this back garage was converted into a studio. You know what movie was edited in that garage right behind there? Evil Dead. And I believe Evil Dead 2, but I'm not 100% certain on that one. I know Evil Dead 1 was edited back there because the driveway going through there was, I don't know if I told the story yet on video, I think I did, where, what's his face? Bruce Campbell was because, you know, he was in a movie, Ron Teachworth, look him up on IMDb, he did a movie called Going Back, where he directed it. I think he wrote it too, I'm not sure, with Bruce Campbell. But it was him. They all went to school at Michigan State University. Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and they all went there. So anyways, in the back of there, look up in the credits too, he edited, I think Bruce Campbell also helped edit it, because they were working on it together, and Sam Raimi. They all edited Evil Dead back in that little place, right behind my left arm there. Which is just FYI. Anyways, that's the driveway. And I believe this photograph also was taken by my mom's friend. She pulled up, I think, and I was outside in the yard being insane. And she goes, I gotta get a picture of you. You look insane. She's like, oh, you look great. Let me get a picture of you. And that was the picture. So I took that knife. So anyways, there was a place around the block, down the street, down Walton Boulevard. I don't think it's there anymore, called Jerry's Gun Shop. And it was a high-end, you know, Jerry was the guy that owned the place, Jerry's Gun Shop. And in Jerry's Gun Shop, he didn't have a lot of stuff. It was a very small store, but he had a lot of, but he had handguns, rifles, everything, hunting knives. That was the first place where I saw that you could actually get the actual Rambo, you know, Bowie knife, which was like crazy money back then. And he also had an Uzi, but it had a long barrel, it had a rifle barrel on it, because I guess he said that you can't sell a 9mm Uzi without the rifled barrel. If you were to get the short one, it becomes illegal. I remember Jerry saying that. They had an Uzi back there, which I so wanted that thing. Dad, can I? No, you're 11 years old. I'm not buying you a 9mm Uzi. But Dad, it was the 80s. Anyways, but he did. My dad, he had this knife, and it was technically a throwing knife because it was double-sided. It had a blade on each side. It had a weighted handle. It wasn't cheap either. I think it was like $30, which was kind of pricey back then. It had a weighted handle and had this cool sheath, and it was very like concealing. You're supposed to conceal like in a boot, and you could pull, or a belt on the side. You could pull this knife out and throw it. It was perfectly weighted, and I had thrown it a lot before I even got my first throwing star, which was this year, by the way. My first shuriken, I had that knife. And it was razor freaking sharp, and I had learned how to take the stone and sharpen it, and I'd cut myself a few times with that knife. But anyways, that was like my knife. That was like my thing. It's like, I gotta have my knife, and I took it with me to the camp at Tecumseh Woods because I just figured, hey, we're going camping. Can't we take a knife? Yep, they took it away from me. I tried to take it to school a few times. It didn't. I don't think it made it past my mom. That's why it was in the car. But obviously I got the knife back at this point, or I had the knife at this point, and I was out throwing it into trees in the yard, being a lunatic. People I'm sure going by, it's like, what the hell is, it's the 80s. But anyways, so, don't know why I needed the canteen that day. It was just, I just wanted that on me. And again, I think it might have been the second or third day of school. I remember wearing that shirt in 6th grade with the, with my, I wore those actually with the black parachute pants. I don't have any pictures of my black parachute pants and a red parachute pants. The red one is supposed to go with my Thriller jacket, and my black ones would go with my Beat It jacket. Because I didn't have the red Beat It jacket. I had the black Beat It jacket. I don't know if you remember the Beat It jackets from the video Beat It. Michael Jackson wore the red one. But you could get a black, I think they had a blue one and a yellow one and a white one. But I had the black one, and I had black parachute pants to match it. And I also had the Thriller jacket, all purchased at merry-go-rounds, and the red Thriller, because you could get a black one with red stripes, which was the alternate version. But I had the red Thriller jacket because of the video, and I had red parachute pants. I don't think he actually wears parachute pants in the video. I think he just has like like red, like, you know, drain pipes on, like red kind of, because he's a skinny guy. But anyways, I had a black patent leather Adidas this year. I had camouflage Chuck Taylors. Actually, I should probably wearing the camouflage Chuck Taylors because I wore them to that camp. And I remember I had a black counselor named not Calvin. Calvin was he was like an auxiliary guy, like counselor kind of guy, because he had a cool stereo in his cabin. Anyways, Vernon or Vern? I think it was just Vern, but I think Vernon was his real name. He was our counselor, and anyways, I walked into the thing for the first time as we're meeting all the counselors and stuff, and all these counselors were all dudes from like the inner city. But anyways, he took one look at those shoes. He's like camouflage Chucks. I didn't even know they made camouflage Chucks. I just remember that. But yeah, I got in trouble a bunch. I was kind of a troublemaker as a kid. Not overtly trouble. I wasn't really a bully ever. Actually, I got bullied more than I would bully. But I would get in trouble because I was obviously going through lots of issues at this time, and knives, guns, and I had a crazy alcoholic dad who was, he would enable all of my insanity. I had a mom, who was constantly looking for a new husband who was never around. So I said I had a lot, and my sister was gone to college. I had a lot of issues at this time. So as you can clearly see in this photo, that is a troubled little 11-year-old right there. Yeah, so enough. We'll stop talking about that for now. And let's move on to, like I said, I didn't find a lot of photographs, but I found some sort of photographs. Actually, the first photograph I wanted to show you was this. It's not the same, but you can buy this now. It's like 20 bucks. You can get a sort of a copy of that t-shirt. So that's like a new novelty. Hey guys, let's look like we're from the 80s. Let's put it in Stranger Things. And that is the real thing right there. That's the real deal. I just wanted to throw that up there for an example. Anyways, you can go buy that. Speaking of parachute pants, mine were not this. Were kind of like darker red. I had the Dayglow, the Dayglow orangish red parachute pants, and like I said, I had patent leather Adidas that year. I had the camouflage Chucks, which kind of went. By the time school started, the Chucks kind of died because I wore them to camp. But and then I had a pair of checkered Vans too, specifically the black and white checkered Vans. I wanted there was one that had red and black and white checkers, like 3 different color checkers, but I never found them. I ended up getting the black checkered Vans, and I got those at what the heck was the name of the place? Place downtown Rochester. I can't remember what the name of the shoe store was called. But because they didn't have Journeys back then. They had you basically bought all your shoes at the mall at Payless, or they didn't have the DSW then either. They had Payless shoe stores, which Payless stuff was kind of cheap and crappy, but they had there was Foot Locker, but Foot Locker was for rich kids, that wanted, Actually, I got my patent leather Adidas at Foot Locker, and they were expensive. My dad was like, "Oh, Jesus, shoes were crazy expensive, like $60 back then." And then the Vans were pretty inexpensive. But yeah, there's parachute pants. So I had a pair of black ones. Mine were more like this, black ones, and I had red ones. Same thing with the zips, the black zips there. They had like the grayish zips on there. And then I didn't pull up pictures of the jackets, but just in case everybody knows, this was merry-go-rounds. This is not my merry-go-round. Sorry, I don't. This is of course it's a work file. Anyways, so this was the store. There was no. I always thought there was a merry-go-round in the middle of it. It was just like where you sat to try and close. It was just like this round, carpet-covered table to stool thing. I always thought it was a merry-go-round as a kid, just because I was weird. But anyways, but yeah, this is where you'd go in and you'd be like, you thought you were cool going into merry. I remember my dad, my sister, and my dad and me. I got that not the Beat It jacket, but the Thriller jacket. I had to wear it out of the store. I'm gonna wear it out. And anyways, and I had it unzipped. I had shorts on, baby blue shorts. Just totally didn't match. Baby blue shorts, knee-high socks, and this Thriller jacket. And I think I was wearing a headband then too. And I was I walked out of there. My dad just looks at me, shakes his head, and he goes, "He looks thinks he's hot shit." I'm saying that. But anyways. But yeah, so like I said, that was the store to go to. Like I said, Chess King was down the hall a little bit, and nobody went. I mean, people went there, but none of the kids did. It was crazy. I'm sure some of the rich kids at school went to Chess King, but it was just really expensive. And then DJ's opened up across, which was DJ's was it was weird. It was they used to have, I think they used to have the MC Hammer pants before MC Hammer was MC Hammer. But they had these really baggy stuff. A lot of black dude clothes. DJ's was more of a black dude store. Merry-Go-Rounds was kind of everybody's store, but DJ's was more of a black dude store. Although I remember getting a pair of pants there once. He's not as MC Hammery, but they were pretty baggy, triple pleated black dress pants there. And I remember there was a black dude to help me get those pants too. He's like, I remember I'm getting all measured and everything. Thought I was cool. I was like, I'm getting a suit, and I was just getting a pair of dress pants. That's all I was getting. But anyways, that was like 85, 80, might even been 86. But anyways, yeah. So that was the place we went to get clothing. So for me, my two favorite places to get anything non-toy, non-comic, non-book related at the time, non-music related, was merry-go-rounds and Things. Those are my two favorite stores. And the Things in Lakeside Mall was also, I'll show you where it was when I show you pictures of Lakeside, which I don't have pictures of Things. I wish I did. And there was just some ads and stuff for all work files. Those are some definitely 80s ads for merry-go-round. They would have lots of merry-go-round ads, circulars and stuff that would come out. See, like that? That's what I had, except for mine was a sweatshirt. Never had anything like that. This, I kind of wanted a shirt like this, but I ended up getting that gray thing. I didn't have a lot. Like I said, it's like my dad had money then, but my mom didn't, and it was just a weird time. And I didn't get a lot of stuff. I mean, the parachute pants and the jackets my dad got for me. My mom got me that shirt, that one right there, and she got the shorts that went with it. And I think she had a couple other outfits that I had. Outfits. Tim, you got your outfits. Anyways, so let's fast forward. There's more 80s. There's more merry-go-round ads and stuff. Actually, that's LA Gear. Here's a merry-go-round. That looks later. IOU, yeah, that was like 86, 87. IOU, I don't think was a thing in 80. It might have been, but I don't think. It was more like Rocky IV time, like Hugo Boss, IOU. That was all like 86, 87. There's another merry-go-round. It's actually, see, ours looked a lot like that one in Lakeside Mall. It was right outside Sears. This one, I don't know where that's. Probably looks like a California mall. But anyways, let's go to Lakeside Mall. So let's grab some what I have in pictures. So today, as we speak, this is, I think this, they said this picture was taken last year. This is Lakeside Mall during the day. That parking lot, I think there's even a picture I have of it. That parking lot in the 80s was jam-packed. I mean, it was jam-packed, Phil. Like, as in the way to keep circling. Like, I was like, well, how far away are we going to park? We had to park, like, way out in the, way the hell out to park there. But anyways, I have to see if I can find where the Toys R Us is. There's Penny's. It's gone in this picture, because Toys R Us is gone, obviously. But, oh, there's the, okay, so that's that road right there is Hall Road, or M59, because there's that toilet bowl thing. Stupid sculpture they put up. That's new. That wasn't there back in the 80s. Across the street, though, there's Target. Okay, so that's Schoenherr. I was like, Schoenherr Road. And then there's Hall Road. So that's across, the Target's across the street on Schoenherr. Oh, I can blow this up, can't I? Oh, look at that. No, don't blow back down. Okay. So that's Hall Road. So I lived way out. This is Rochester Hills. So they call them the Hills. Rochester Hills, well, it was a little bit farther past there, but that's pretty much Rochester Hills. So where are we at here? So on the corner here, which would have been right there, I believe. Well, let's see. There's the road. There in the shopping center on that side, that's where the Children's Palace was. On the corner here, though, there's a Petco. It's right up. Oh, no, it's right there. I can see it. That right there, that little white building, that used to be the Toys R Us right there. The one I'm talking about from 1984. It opened in 1984. If it was still there, it would have been 40 years. I mean, the building's there, but the store was still there. It would have been 40 years old. So that is right there. When I'm talking, every time I mention 1984 Transformers, this particular fall, looking for Transformers X, and this is the summer when I ended up finding the Soundwave and got the tapes. But that is the one I'm talking about right there. So that's the one I first got my Jedi figures in '83 at. No, sorry. No, did it open up in '83? Oh no, that's right. It did open up in '84. That was the second wave of the '84 series of figures, of Jedi figures, and ended up, I didn't get that many of them, but I got a couple here. I was more onto G.I. Joe and Transformers by that time, and still finishing up my He-Man. Yeah, they had these crazy little skylights everywhere. So normally we would come in over here and go to Sears. So there's Macy's, which Macy's was Marshall Field's, and then before Marshall Field's, back in the 80s, it was Hudson's. So, and there was two of them. Actually, that right there isn't the right, is it? Yes, this is the right. That's Macy's. That's where my sister, when she dropped us off the day, that's where she dropped us off, right there. It was between Macy's and Penny's. It's a two-story mall here, as you can see. But I guess I can't really pull anything over anyway. So there's the Penny's. The Penny's. I always pull back down. So there's that's what I used to call that store. My sister's like, yeah, I'm gonna go over to Lord and Taylor. Where? Lord and Taylor. I'm like, what's Lord and Taylor? She says, that store. I go, oh, you mean the mall? Because I didn't know what it said. It was just this crazy cursive. I used to call it the mall. Anyways, we're over at the store over here. Sorry, store, not mall. So Sears was over here. This was Crowley's at the time, back in the day, and then it became they switched it. When it turned into Marshall Field's, it was like houseware. No, sorry, it was women's clothes and makeup on this side, and this side was men's clothes because they didn't need that much. Housewares, furniture, all that stuff on that side. But before when it was back when it was Hudson's, when it was just Hudson's, this was Crowley's, and nobody ever went to. I don't know if we ever. Look at ever stepped foot in Crowley's when it was Crowley's. I mean, I probably did with my mom, but I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, Penny's is this anchor store. I'm going to show you interior store pieces of the mall too. But yeah, that's going to be gone. They might even be gone already. I haven't checked. Go ahead and watch on. Go to YouTube, because you're on YouTube. Go to YouTube and watch Dead Mall's Lakeside Mall. There's a guy who's done. I think there's 3 people have done walkthroughs. Current walkthroughs on Lakeside, but I think it's gone or in the process of being dismantled now. I don't know what. I think they're going to make residential, obviously, or I don't even know if it's going to be retail space. It's a huge area. It's called Lakeside. The lake was this tiny little pond on the side. It wasn't even a lake. That was the Lakeside, so that's how that went. Where are we at? Interior of Lakeside. So, well, here, let's go. I think I have a picture. I thought I had a picture of the parking lot with cars, but I don't. First of all, that elevator with the fountain, that's back. It's not 2003. But anyways, this photograph obviously was probably, what, the 50s? And this photograph is talking, I think it was opened in the 50s. There's a Churchill right there. Music Land. There's Music Land up there. But that looks more like the 80s there. Actually, I don't even know if that might not even be the same mall. It looks like it. So this fountain was this was like the obelisk from 2001 to me as a kid. When I was a kid, it was like it was a platform in which to think upon. No, it was just a thing. Like you run your finger across the, here, you throw a chain, look at all those quarters and stuff in there. So you'd get into the elevator on this side, and then it looked like, then they had like this glass thing that was like tinted. I'm not sure why, but when you went from the second floor down, you had the appearance like and then you saw, then the fountain would go up as the elevator would lower. And it gave you the impression like you were going to go underwater. And it used to freak me out as a kid. We're going underwater! And the door would open. It's like, no, we're not underwater. So there's Macy's back there. So that was Hudson's at the time. But anyway, I remember sitting, I don't know how many G.I. Joe and Star Wars figures I've opened up and almost lost the guns and accessories sitting on this bench right here. Because, like I said, I would get to the mall with my sister. She's like, meet me at the elevator waterfall in an hour. Okay. So I'd run to all the toy stores. I'd buy everything I would buy, and I was very surgical about it. And then I'd come back, and I'd be done in like 20 minutes because I'm a very hyper focused individual. And I'd look for my stuff, and I'd get back and I'd sit there, and because I'd want to open up my stuff. I'd sit there and I'd open up stuff. And then my sister would come up and say, "Are you done?" "Yeah, I was been done a half hour ago." "Oh, well, I still want to look at a couple things." "No, let's go to blah, 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 blah store." "No, I don't want to go to blah, blah, blah store. I go to Lord and Taylor. I want to go home and play with my G.I. Joe / Star Wars / He-Man guys." But anyways, that was back then. So there's that. There's pictures. Here's the layout. Not that it really matters, but I guess we'll pull up the layout just because I've got a couple of things I want to show you on this. There's blah, 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 blah. Again, this was Crowley's. That was Macy's. Most of the time, like I said, we would come in through Sears. This is the Sears that I bought. You know, I was telling you all about the Sears stores, or all my Sears stories. This is the Sears. So anyways, you come in here. Merry-go-rounds, I believe, was like right here or right here. I think the Hot Topic now today is like right there, if it's still there. I think it's gone though. But that was there. DJ's was across here. Chess King was like over here or something. Things was right over here. Or maybe was it there? No, Things was here. By the store. Let's see. KB Toy Store was right there. The Harmony House was up here on the second floor. And then what else stores am I thinking of? Imperial Sports is up here on the second floor back in the day. There was a music store over here in the corner. Then no, it's right here. And then there was an optical place there by Penny's. And then this is my mom. I gotta go to Penny's. It's J.C. Penney. We gotta go to Penny's, and that's where we go in there. Like I said, I mean, almost every if I had like a list of all the action figures and all the toys back then that were purchased at the mall, I could list you. It'd take me a little bit of thinking, but I could list you and tell you every store that I went into to get those. Most of the time. So up here, also on the second floor, outside of here, there was another toy store called K&K Toys. And then they had, but remember, Sears had a huge toy department in the back here. This is the auto. Basically, it was the auto shop, and then there was a toy section, and then I think went into hardware and like sporting goods and stuff. And then they had a second floor, and second floor is where I got, like, remember the story I was telling about Pyromania and Metal Health, the two on a cassette? That was purchased upstairs at the Sears. I'm trying to think what else. But Penny's also had toys. Not a lot, not as much as Sears, but Penny's did have toys. You could get Star Wars figures over there. The reason I didn't want to go into this store or Hudson's, well, Hudson's did have toys though. Not a lot too, and they were always like $1 or $2 more than every other store when it was Hudson's. But I didn't want to go into Crowley's. I said I don't remember going into Crowley's that much, but Lord and Taylor, blah, I never want to go in there because there's nothing for me to look at. I want to sit and look at clothes. If I want to look at clothes, I'm going to go back down to Merry-Go-Rounds. Or go over to Things. Go over here and get some parachute pants. Go over here and get an Iron Maiden t-shirt. Go back over here and get an action figure. Maybe grab some, go up to either the two music stores and grab an album on cassette. Ready to go. So yeah, here, I was just going to show you, there's the leather tie. Again, those are like the parachute-esque pants. They kind of had, there was like so many different variations of like, that basically was just parachute material, like nylon, what it was. Or like a nylon polyester kind of mix. And yeah, that was just a thing. I mean, they had lots of variations. Girls' clothes, obviously. Boys' clothes, just different variations on the same theme. It was essentially, you know, anything on MTV. So that's an LA Gears commercial, or that looks more 90s or late 80s. Again, same thing with that. Merry-Go-Rounds, but this is later on. And I remember when, like, DJs and Merry-Go-Rounds, they were all, like, IOU, Hugo Boss, and they were more catered to a different crowd. It wasn't like the cool store anymore. It was like the... I was like pretty much a full-fledged burnout by this time with just nothing but Maiden shirts and stuff. But this is the time, this was This is like when all the douchebags started to shop there. It was all a very douchey store. Even the chicks were douchebags. I got a funny story. So that's right. That is the fountain's covered right there, but that's the fountain. They'll cover it for like a show or like when Santa Claus comes to town. But that, and there's the Sears parking lot on the other side. That's actually the movie theater was down over here, where I used to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show all the time. There's the Sears Auto Center. And then that was outside of Penny's. They had these sculptures out, besides all the anchor stores, they had these sculptures, and then they had the sitting area. You could smoke then, by the way, in there. So, a couple of things. When we went there, not that one time, I went there with my son like maybe like pre-COVID. That little walkway there, I couldn't walk across there. I was too scared, like literally, I mean, I was in my 40s. My son and was like, I can't walk across there. It made me so nervous being on the second floor of this mall, being near those glass railings and stuff. I used to run in those places, run like a madman when I was a kid, you know, dodging in and out through tons of people, and you know, and then a teenager walking around trying to look for girls. Hey, ladies, you know, like that, trying to be cool and everything. We would just do rounds, walking the malls, just looking for chicks, and you know, and even into the 90s and stuff, I'd still go to the mall and stuff. But the last time I actually literally shopped for any length of time, when we went in there, I could not be on the second floor. It made me so nervous. I was shaking. Like, I was like so afraid of heights that I could not be in there. Like, what is going on? What happened to me? But I couldn't walk across that. It was just like a little catwalk that you walk across, and I couldn't walk across it. I was too scared to walk it. And the other thing was, so the elevator still didn't really bother me so much, but that's an old one. I think it's the 70s. Looks more like the 70s. But as you see, the water comes up, thing goes down. Because the B. Dalton bookseller, well, it was there for a while, but I remember it moved either here or, and that looks, to me, that looks like the ice, yeah, that's the 70s. That's where the, well, not ice rink or whatever that thing was. The ice rink was over where the arcade was. I just wanted to pull this up real quick. I don't know if I mentioned Farrell's before. This is actually not at Lakeside. This is at Oakland Mall, which is in Troy, which is a couple of cities over. It's actually in Oakland County. The Farrell's used to be the place that you go for your birthday, right? That was like the place to go. I just wanted to pull that up just to show you that. There's outside of Penny's. So yeah, so that's probably, photos probably taken from the catwalk too. Yeah, Lens Crafters there. That was a music store at one time. But yeah, you'd sit out here. So I went up these and it didn't really bother me. But the thing was, we were walking, when I went there, that used to be Hudson's, that was the Hudson's thing. These kind of bothered me. I was like, oh, I don't know about walking up the, I mean, I walked up these thousands of times. For some reason, in my 40s, I just couldn't do it. It just made me nervous walking on this. I don't know what happens to you over time. There's that one again. There's the Sears that was there. So this one, they're closing. But I wanted to show you. That's outside of. Is that Penny? Yeah, it's Penny's, right? No, it's not Penny. What is that one? That one's. Oh, that's Sears. Duh. That's okay. So Sears had that other crazy red thing. That's right outside Sears. So yeah. Merry-Go-Rounds was like right there. Actually, I think it was right there. I'm sorry, back to the crazy shirt. But one thing I wanted to show you was this. So these two escalators right in front of the fountain. So when my sister dropped us off, because she dropped us off over here, I think. So we had to come in. We went downstairs. I didn't have any issue going downstairs. And we went over to Hot Topic, got the shirts, we were coming back, and I was with my son, and I started to have a panic attack on here. I was going up, and I just had, like, I thought, like, I remember seeing the video in Japan where the thing falls apart and the lady gets eaten by one of the things and killed. I had this weird, like, all of these, like all these crazy, like, weird just thoughts in my head going up this, and I started to lose my balance and started to get, like, vertigo. And I thought I was going to fall backwards, and I was leaning forward, and I had my hands like white-knuckled on the little rubber handles, And my son's looking like, are you okay? I'm like, well, we just got to get upstairs. We just got to get upstairs. And literally, I got to the front here, and it's just like, I made it. I literally thought I was going to fall down and fall, or the thing was going to eat me or whatever. Just a crazy panic attack. I'm like going, what is getting into your old age, weird things start happening to you. And that was one of them. So I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, we're coming up on the hour. So again, I just basically wanted to kind of show you some photographs of me back in the day. And I wanted to show you the Lakeside Mall, a little bit into that. Like I said, it's not a lot. It's going to be gone soon. Not a lot of stuff. I want to talk about merry-go-rounds. Like I said, it's not always just toys and stuff I'm always talking about. I'm kind of talking about that whole time period. And specifically, I'm talking about 1984, that time period. And so now you got more of a visual if you're not from the area. I mean, if you're from this area and you watch, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're from another state, another country even, you'd be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I have no clue. So it gives you a little bit of visuals into what I'm talking about when I mention all this stuff. And again, the fashion, all that stuff. Like I said, you know, all the stuff that people still talk about today, it's just, I was there. You know, I was there, witnessed it firsthand as a kid, too. Because the 80s was my generation for being a kid. You know, pretty much it was, you know, pre-80s was the 70s, because I was born in 73. The 80s was a kid, you know, kid into teenagers, and then the 20s was pretty much, sorry, the 90s was pretty much my 20s. You know, the 10s, the aughts was my 30s, the teens was my 40s, and now we're looking at the 20s, and I'm 50. So it's hell getting, as my grandma used to say, hell getting old, damn it. Getting old. Anyways, tell me your experiences. If you've got any photographs and stuff, or if you can remember stores like that too, if you remember anything, and it doesn't have to be from Michigan, it could be from, if you live in California, live in wherever, Honolulu. If you've got pictures of that time period, let's try to keep it around like 84, so mid-80s, early to mid-80s, it could even be late 80s, doesn't matter, but I'm kind of looking, it could even be late 70s. I'm looking for that time period in some of these stores and stuff that I'm trying to remember them all, because like I said, I mean, I didn't go into all of them, but a lot of them I did, and like I said, I've seen, for the most part, photographs of most places, but things is probably the biggest, that's the biggest elusive one, as I cannot find, and again, I don't know if it was regional or if it was a nationwide chain, because I can't find any information online about it. Again, you also got a tip to stuff about things, let me know. Hey, maybe you worked at a Things. That'd be even cooler, you know. Like I said, give me some comments. Put, you know, do all that stuff. Remember to like and subscribe if you like this stuff. You also got any ideas for stuff from the 80s and this time, or stuff from 1984 that you can think of that I haven't covered yet? Hit me up. And somebody mentioned, you know, you should do something on G.I. Joe and Transformers, which I have, and He-Man, which I have, so I told them to go back and look at those videos. I'll probably do more on them later, you know, different aspects of it, but I have got some of those videos. I think I've covered the big three. Not the best videos, but I have covered them for the most part. G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, and I've covered Star Wars, obviously, and I've covered some of the more lesser knowns, but and going through the catalogs too, we talk about this, but I've covered most of them, but there were some of my earlier videos, so obviously as I get better at making these videos and as we go, if I ever get around to learning editing too, which would be a thing. Again, that was my invitation to everybody, is get me to 1,000 subscribers, get me into monetization. Once I'm into monetization, then I'll spend the money for some decent editing software, and I will start editing videos and doing a better job. Because then it's, you know, then we're talking money at that point. But up until then, you're getting the bare bones, the best that I can do with bare bones up until I hit that mark. So, which is kind of a, you know, what do you call it, double-edged sword or double-edged knife, because you know, maybe people aren't watching my videos, not subscribing. This guy makes some shitty videos. He needs to learn how to edit. But I don't want to start editing and getting into spending the time and the money on that until I start making money. So it's kind of, you know, we're at an impasse. But all right, I'll catch you on the next one. I'll probably throw this one out there Monday maybe. But I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye bye.